Today we're starting on the rear suspension. I want to get these springs out of here because the previous owner cut them, and we have some brand new correct ride height replacement springs. But the first step in the service manual is to bleed out the hydraulic system and do 1/2 liter. So let's put our catch can under here, and there's a little nipple right here, and if we undo that, we should. Got it under there? Mm-hmm. There we go. Here it comes. There we go. And the manual says to bleed out 1/2 liter. There you go. So we're going to go ahead and let that fill, bleed out the system, and then next we're going to go ahead and remove the struts or hydraulic shocks in the back. Alright guys, so what I'm doing now is preparing to remove the rear springs, and you can see the previous owner had put a little 8-inch woofer back here. I'm sure a lot of you guys might like that, but I'm going to remove it and put the factory stereo back in. So I'm going to take all this wiring out. But the first part of removing the rear springs, first you have to remove the hydraulic shocks. And previously you saw we bled the system as per the Mercedes instructions. And then I removed the cross member cover. There's the cover right there. Now, this car was manufactured before August of 1982. So it has the first version of the spring, the shock mount. See, it's like a cupped grommet. That was the first design version. Also, what I've done, I've just loosened the hydraulic hose here, because we're going to be disconnecting that hose from the shock, hydraulic shock, when we drop it down through the bottom of the car. And I removed this is like an inspection plate, so I removed that. And again, these wires are all coming out of the car. And you can see I've loosened that one too. See, it's a little wet right there. It's dripping just a little bit. So now you can see how low this car rides because that spring was cut. That's what I'm going to fix. So since I have the version 1 instead of version 2, you can tell by the way the shock mounts. The instructions in the 123 assembly manual say to support the weight of the vehicle, let the vehicle support on its own weight. So I have some stands under here and up under the front, and the lift is actually, it's not pressing up against the car. It says to do that before removing the hydraulic shocks. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen that bolt now. Show you why Mercedes wants you to have the car at rest on its own weight, loaded, the rear suspension loaded, because when you undo the top bushing, you can see there's no tension on that shock. So it's not stressing it or pulling on it, and it's not going to pop loose. So the car is just resting on its own weight right now. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can undo this fitting and go ahead and unscrew the bolts on the bottom and remove that shock. Now I'm under the car, and you can see it's supported under its own weight. I removed one bolt, and the other one is loose, about to come out. Now I'm going to go up top and disconnect the hydraulic line and then drop the shock out the bottom. Alright, I just pulled out the hydraulic struts on the rear, and man, these things are in outstanding condition. The rubber boots on the top are in great condition. You can see the shock body is in outstanding condition. And down here, there's a ball joint in here, which allows this to pivot. There's a ball down in there, and you can see the boot is in outstanding condition. The plastic cover's got a couple of rips right there on this one, but yeah, the boot is still intact and in great condition. So I'm really glad to see that these are solid, because I was planning on replacing these, but it's extremely expensive to replace these, and these are in excellent working condition. And they're very clean too. I was surprised how clean they were. Anyway, so I got these out, and now I'm going to start working on getting the rear spring out. Okay, we just got the new spring in on the driver's side. This tool just goes up in there. Use the plates, which are, where are the plates? Oh, I've got the plates over here on the passenger side. We're about to take this one out. So that one's in and complete. Still got to put the hydraulic shock back in here. But now I'm going to take this one out, and we'll, this one, you compress it and it clears right through here. On the other side, you drop the exhaust and it clears right over the top of the axle. That's the place that it goes through best. Alright, just wanted to show how you pull out one of the springs. Once it is, let me get my light situated here. So, see, once it's compressed, you can actually pick it up and come over the axle with it while it's in the compressed state. There you go. I did that with one hand. And there you go. And then I'm just going to transfer this, that's probably like anti-squeak or some sort of pad Mercedes had on there. I'm going to transfer that over to the new spring and put it in there. Here's the spring. These are upside down. And here's the original wagon spring here. And here's the correct height. And you can see, oh, there was about a, let's see, there you go. There was about an inch coil cut off or so, and that's why it was riding low in the back. So these coils are going to bring it back up to ride height. And so I just got to compress this one and put it back in there. I'm also going to transfer this. This was on the factory coil, so I'm just going to transfer that over. I had my buddy Jeremy over here helping today. And because he was on the inside of the car and I was underneath it, and vice versa, so we could push the shocks up through and reattach the hydraulic lines. But the new springs that are the correct ride height are in there, and that's what it's supposed to look like. Before, it was like tucked down over the wheel, and that's the correct ride height. So that looks really good. It's still on the lift right now. It's just resting on the those things. And we have the lines reconnected, and we have the bushings put back on here. I got to put the cross member cover plate back on. Alright, so the update for today is the rear sway bar end links. These, see that? That is worn out. And those always are worn out, so I've got a brand new set of Limforder. You want to get these because they're the good ones. And I'm going to go ahead and install these Limforder sway bar end links on here. Replacing the end links is pretty easy. This one goes through the sway bar, and there's just a nut on the end of it. So you pop that one off. And then remove the wheel, because once you remove the wheel, it's a little easier. See, there's a nut right there on the bottom one, and you can, there you go, you can spin the nut off. See me spinning the nut there? And then this, it'll detach, and you can get the bottom off. So I'm going to go ahead and take those off and just replace them. Alright, you can see the new Limforder is here, and here's the old. And this is why I changed these. Look at that ball and socket there. That thing just flops around. You can also see the boot is broken. You can see the ball in there. It's flopping around, just not doing anything. And what that'll do is when you're turning, you'll hear a knock or a bang in the back end. And that's due to these. You can see the new Limforder is all sealed, and these are tight. See, it's tight and harder to move, and this will resolve that knocking or banging sound. Here I am just tightening the sway bar in length on the passenger side. Once you get it threaded, it's easy to go in there. And the best way to do it is go ahead and thread the top one. You don't need to tighten it, but that'll hold it in place as you try to get the bottom one threaded. And then it makes it much easier to get in there. Okay, so I've got the sway bar replaced on this side of the vehicle. And see how stiff it is? It's not flopping around now. That's what you want. Nice new Limforder sway bar end link. I'm working on the rear door. I'm going to change in this door and that door, change the door strap. Here's the piece right here. This one is not working right. It's squeaking and grinding in there, so I need to go ahead and remove it. It's just a couple of bolts on the front and then one on the back, and it slides out. And I'm going to get a nice condition replacement to put in there. I'm also going to lower the window and grease the power window track. That needs to be done on all the doors. It's a common, not common, but it's a regular maintenance item. Keeps them lasting for a long time. I've got the pin out here, and the way that pin is held in, there's a small C-clip that goes around the bottom of the pin. See, there's a little groove in the bottom of the pin here. There's also in between the pin and the strap, there's a little like nylon washer. It's important to keep that in there. Keeps it from, you know, squeaking, and it moves smoothly. But then once that's disconnected there, see, this one's broken. See that? I can undo the bolt. Let's see, there's a bolt there and one on the bottom, and then that will slide out the back. I think, yeah, this one right here also holds the back side in. Strap out, you can see the issue. This right here is a little cover that's supposed to be over the strap, and this is a little spring that has broken from under that cover. You can see the springs right down in there. So that's just part of having a 40-year-old vehicle that you're restoring. But I'm going to go ahead and get another good strap and put it in this door. It's due to the sun glare, but it's very important. See this old grease for the window track? It's important to clean all that off with some brake cleaner and then apply some new grease. I use this high pressure moly graphite. Works great. I do it on all my cars. Window is still working. This is just a maintenance item that'll keep it working and keep it in good shape. Now I'm removing the driver's side door panel. I want to change this handle. See, this handle is a little sloppy. They often break the metal bracket behind it and they flop down, so I've got a replacement handle. And this is a good tool to get the door panel off. You put it up in here. I've already popped it loose, but you just pop the little clips loose. See, there's a clip there, there's one right there, and then like on the sides, well, where it's kind of tight, you can use this little hook side like that. You can kind of get in there and you just work it loose all the way up, and then you can see it's loose. Now, of course, you have to remove this piece and this piece. It's all right there. And you definitely don't want to pull out on it. You want to lift up, because this is just cardboard and you can crease it, and then, you know, you can't fix that. So I'm going to carefully push this up and remove it, and go ahead and replace this handle and lubricate the power window track. I'm going to go ahead and lubricate and grease this window track, which is in great shape. But you can see this handle has flopped down. It's just because like the pin or pivot has worn back there. You can see how the replacement handle goes straight. It doesn't flop down. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this handle in there. Now we have a good handle in there. This one isn't loose, doesn't wobble around. Okay, you got the vacuum line securely clipped back in there. This one had popped out. You can see I've got it re-greased and lubricated, and I'm just going to raise the window and then so I can get behind and lubricate the other side. Let me just turn this on. There we go. I want to raise it right there so then I can get behind here. Where did I put my brush? There it is. And we just want to get back in there like that. Make sure there's plenty of grease in there. There we go. Now let's see how it moves. Wow, that's fantastic. This window operates excellent. All right, that side is done, and we have the replacement handle on that is a solid tight fit. So what I'm doing now, I'm going to remove the fuel sending unit and disassemble that and clean it. Often you'll get a stuck gauge due to buildup and not corrosion, but just buildup of old diesel gunk in those things. So, but they are rebuildable and it's really easy. And also, I just wanted to show you back here, I removed the tire and there is no rust back here in the wheel well. And the factory fuel lines are in outstanding condition. Those things look great. Still got the cadmium plating, and these fuel lines are in outstanding condition. So anyway, let me go ahead and get back to removing this. I've got it unplugged and I've got a special socket that allows me to take that out. Alright, I have the fuel sending unit out on the bench, and you can see right here on the end there's a little cap, and what you have to do, you have to cut a notch because there's two notches. I'm not sure how good you can see it on this camera. Anyway, those little notches plug into the end and you can unscrew it, and then the whole assembly comes apart and you can clean the inside. And once you have it taken apart, you see there's the little screw with the notches, or the little nut. It's like a plastic nut with notches. Then there's the, come on, focused. There's the end cap. There's a plastic end cap underneath that. And you pull those out and you can slide the whole assembly out. And what you need to do, see how there's a little corrosion built up on the axle? And then just, there we go. You just clean those little parts here, but you got to be careful because there are these little metal wires. You can see one there. The other two are so small you can't see them. But that bobber, there you go, it slides up and down on there. And I just got to clean that to make sure it slides freely. And then there's some contacts up in here that you can also clean. I'm done cleaning. That's very clean in there now. And I also polished. You can see there's a little rough spot right there, but it's pretty smooth at this point. I don't want to risk breaking any of the, you can barely see the little wires. And this works great now, but it slides very easy now. And that's what you want. That'll give a really accurate fuel gauge. When you put it back in the car, you need to make sure you have a fresh O-ring. Here's a nice new O-ring, and this goes around the Cindy unit and seals it to the top of the gas tank. I'm sorry, on top of the fuel tank. But if you don't replace that, it'll leak diesel. It'll splash around and come out the top. So really important to replace that O-ring. So now I'm going to go put this back in the car. I just cleaned off the surface with some brake cleaner and reattached the sending unit. And let's go see. Let's just make sure it registers correctly. Should snap right up to the top. I just got some towels on the dash so I don't mess it up while I'm working on the car. There's the fuel gauge. Bam. There we go. Oh, I got the radio connected. Factory radio back in here. I haven't put it back in the dash yet, but I got it all wired in. Good. And the antenna is lubricated and working correctly. You see it goes up and down smoothly. So that's good. Okay, I've got everything put back together, cleaned up and inside here and vacuumed. And now I'm just going to put the cover back on, and I am done with the restoration back here. Looks really nice. That's the original carpet, folks. Looks great in here. I haven't even vacuumed that. I need to put the spare tire back in there. There's the spare tire. It looks like it's been in here forever. It's a little deflated, but that's the original wheel and spare, so I'm just going to put that back in there to keep it original, and then put the cover on. Go ahead and remove the air cleaner and put on some fresh bushings and the little cups that the bushings go into, and now they're very firm new bushings in there. And this was in good shape. Sometimes they're cracked, but this one's in excellent condition. Also, this hose has been replaced. That's the I guess the turbo oil drain back, or no, I'm sorry, that's the wastegate hose. Sometimes those crack just from all the heat from years of use. And the turbo, I look down in there, is outstanding condition. The fins are very good and it's tight. There's no wiggle in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put the air cleaner housing back on there. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to tackle while I'm waiting on the door strap to come in for this door so I can put it back together is the nets. You can see that these are the older generation nets, and they are totally missing from this side and just ripped to shreds over there. And I've got a buddy out in California who had some Mercedes OEM replacement door cards with beautiful nets in excellent condition, and I'm just going to swap these original Mercedes OEM out for mine, and then I'll probably just rebuild the nets. I got a buddy in the UK that's sending an actual replacement net. So to take these off, it's pretty straightforward. There's a screw down there. Take that screw out, and it actually slides down the track here, and you can get it out. So let me go ahead and do that and put the good one in there. Here's the net I just pulled out of the car, and you can see these are OEM factory replacement, just pulled out of another W123, identical part. And looks really great back here behind the seat, by the way. Everything is still intact. Horsehair is in good condition, so that's really good to see. No springs are broken. And there you go. That is a very easy fix, and we have a beautiful factory Mercedes net with good elastic. Very nice. Now time to do the other side over there. Pulled the passenger side off, and the horsehair is in incredible condition. Just never been disturbed. All the springs are in good condition. No rips, no tears. Looks great under here. Alright, let's go see this replacement part. Here's the cover I just took off. We'll lay that here with the other bad one. There's that one. Then there's the beautiful good one. So I want to clean that up a little bit, some dirt on it, and I'll put that in the car. Oh, you know, for cleaning this stuff, I found that just regular old glass cleaner, that doesn't matter what brand, this is invisible glass, but regular old glass cleaner works really good. You can just spray it on there a little bit, and it takes off any kind of dirt very, very easily. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up and get it on the car. And now the passenger side is done. Very easy job. It's just really hard to find these replacements. And that is absolutely beautiful.